Now, former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney spoke at Colorado College, delivered a commencement address, and during this speech, she correctly pointed out the danger of this modern GOP, the MAGA part of it that is driving the agenda, it's the engine, as I call it, of the party, and that's terrifying and dangerous because of the anti-democratic, many things, but especially because of the anti-democratic views that really defines this movement. Ever since the 2020 election, Trump showed just how willing to buy into detached from reality views this MAGA movement was. And that was centered around the 2020 election lies. And then he used the fact that people bought into those lies and used those lies to justify attempting to install himself president. We came far too close to not having a peaceful transition of power because of Trump. And he was trying to stay president despite losing an election, not doing what all other presidents had done and allowed for that peaceful transition of power. And that was devastating. It could be even more devastating in the future if we don't fight back against this ideology. And so what it's going to take is, as our democratic institutions are being assaulted and as lies are being associated with so strongly, it'll take, no matter our policy differences, Republicans and Democrats alike, anyone who buys into and believes in protecting democracy, to speak out against consistently and aggressively this ideology and this driving force within the GOP, being Trumpism, MAGA, something we talk about a lot. And so Liz Cheney, even though me and Liz Cheney disagree severely on a lot of policy issues, most of them probably, and are very different in so many different facets of our views. That's absolutely real, and it matters, those differences. Yes, that matters. But we can't even get to those arguments. We can't even get to those battles that we should be having over policy differences and over value differences if we don't protect our democracy first. And so this is a moment where people of all different viewpoints, of all different political stances, if they believe in protecting our democracy, can unite around doing just that. And so credit to Liz Cheney here. Obviously, she got a lot more prominent. I'll show you a clip in a moment from the speech, of course, but she got a lot more prominent, as you know, in fighting back against and speaking out against Trump's election lies after 2020 and January 6th and all of that. And she's continuing to do that, which I'm happy to see. She lost her position of power because she spoke out against Trump, and now she's still speaking out against him and his ideology, and we need more. We need more of this from former or current Republicans. I'll talk more about this, but first, here's this.
No party, no nation, no people can defend and perpetuate a constitutional republic if they accept leaders who have gone to war with the rule of law, with the democratic process, with the Constitution itself. That is the threat that we face today, and the outcome is far from certain. It's easy sometimes to imagine that our country, that our institutions, that our freedoms are self-sustaining. They are not. Each of us must resolve to defend them. You must not assume that someone else will do the work. If you doubt how important you are, think about this. Cleta Mitchell, an election denier and an advisor to former President Trump, told a gathering of Republicans recently that it is crucially important to make sure that college students don't vote. Those who are trying to unravel the foundations of our republic, who are threatening the rule of law and the sanctity of our elections, know they can't succeed if you vote. So class of 2023, get out and vote.
Absolutely. And I'll show you, she referenced Cleta Mitchell, who's this Trump advisor, Republican strategist of some sort, and she got caught during a meeting with other Republicans on a recording saying this.
We need to be looking at what are these college campus locations in Poland, what is this young people effort that they do. They basically put the polling place next to the student dorm, so they just had to roll out of bed, vote, and go back to bed. And we need to build strong election integrity task forces in those counties. Wisconsin is a big problem because of the polling locations on college campuses. There are 501c3s. Their goal for the Supreme Court race was to turn out 240,000 college students in that Supreme Court race. And we don't have anything like that, and we need to figure out how to do that and how to combat that.
How to combat that. Yeah. So, gosh darn, why is it so convenient for college students to vote in some places? We need to figure out how to prevent that. Oh no. Or you could just try to win over young voters with actual good policy positions instead of the ones you're putting forward. But this is the stance that a lot of Republican leaders have toward young voters. Why are they voting? They shouldn't be voting. Just make your policies better. That's my advice. But to what Liz Cheney was saying, I definitely think when we look back upon this moment in history, someone like Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, they will just be remembered for what they did in standing up against Trump. And the other Republicans will just be remembered for this era will be defined by. And so thus they'll be remembered for going along with the most dangerous views and the rejection of the most foundational part of our democracy, which is our elections, and the using of lies to try to subvert the will of the people and keep a leader in power despite their loss in election. And then now we have copycats popping up with many, but Carrie Lake being a very prominent example we'll talk about in the next segment. And it is the responsibility of anyone, Republican or Democrat, no matter who's doing the dangerous thing to our democracy, it is the responsibility of all of us to stand up against those actions. And so for Republicans who have not done that because it was politically advantageous to go along with Trump's lies, they will not be looked nicely upon by those looking back at history in the future. One more moment from this speech.
But after the 2020 election and the attack of January 6th, my fellow Republicans wanted me to lie. They wanted me to say that the 2020 election was stolen, that the attack of January 6th wasn't a big deal, and that Donald Trump wasn't dangerous. I had to choose between lying and losing my position in House leadership. As I spoke to my colleagues on my last morning as chair of the Republican Conference in May of 2021, I told them that if they wanted a leader who would lie, they should choose someone else.
Yeah. And every single person in a position of power like Liz Cheney was should be saying something very similar. But they're obviously not, and that's why we're in this scary moment where the election became a huge thing that was lied about, and in so many areas now it's acceptable to create your own reality, especially within this MAGA Republican part of the party, and then live within that and define your ideology by this reality you've created, not the actual one, but one you've manufactured where elections are being stolen and all of that. And the left is coming for your children and grooming them and all of wacky, dangerous views that are put out there. And so I was about to say, I hope more Republicans speak out like Liz Cheney. They won't, unfortunately. But if you can't stand up for basic truths about a democracy and you're supposed to be serving within that democracy, you have absolutely no place being within it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get access to the exclusive members only bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That is lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. And there's a link in the description.